Ladies and gentlemen, hope you are doing well wherever you are. I'm also doing excellent. Welcome to our political analysis, because we have received bad news on our news desk about President William Ruto's Statehose. Actually, members of the National Assembly have sharply disagreed over the amount of money allocated to President William Ruto's Statehose through what we call the budget. A section of lawmakers in the National Assembly have complained that Statehose is receiving too much funding, and that is why Kenyans are protesting, because we have our representatives who are members of parliament are protesting about the allocation that is done without the consent of taxpayers, raising serious concerns and sparking a heated national debate across Kenya. As we speak, several members of parliament strongly criticized the budget allocation, or rather allocations, questioning why such large sums, a lot of money, are being directed to Statehose, while other sectors in this country continue to face financial challenges. The disagreement has created political tension and renewed scrutiny of government spending. A section of members of parliament also turned their criticism toward officials responsible for preparing the budget in this country, Kenya, accusing them of prioritizing Statehose funding at the expense of other important national needs. You know, ladies and gentlemen, the controversy has intensified. Public discussions currently about transparency, accountability, and the use of taxpayers' money. Before I continue, as you continue watching this clip, please, I'm requesting you, I'm not commanding you, but I'm requesting, I beseech you, don't forget to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I kindly ask you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload new content. Thank you for your support, and may God bless you abundantly. Welcome to our political analysis. As you can see on your screen, according to Kenyans.co.ke, they published this story about the allocation by saying MPs clash over Kenyan shillings 1 billion Statehose allocation in supplementary budget. So there was tension in the National Assembly, or rather in Parliament. Why? A heated debate, ladies and gentlemen, erupted in Kenya's National Assembly on June, actually today, 18th, after lawmakers clashed over billions of shillings allocated to Statehose. The office of the deputy president, actually these offices, and the security agencies, under supplementary estimates for the 2025 and 2026 financial year, while government supporters defended the addition of funding as necessary for Statehose operations, or other state operations, and currently critics questioned the timing, transparency, and accountability of the allocations. You know, we are surprised as Kenyans. The controversy centered on supplementary budget that includes 1 billion for Statehose, 200 million for the office of the deputy president, and 3.5 billion for the National Intelligence Service. We call it NIS. The estimates were eventually approved as part of a wider 18.24 billion increase to the national budget before the end of the financial year. That is why a section of members of parliament were opposing, were lamenting about the allocation. The debate highlighted a broader national conversation about public expenditure, government priorities, and oversight of executive offices at a time when Kenya continues to face economic pressures and demands for fiscal discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, during the parliamentary session, several lawmakers questioned the purpose of the additional funds. They wanted to get answers about it. So that is why they argued, or rather, they opposed the new allocation through what we call supplementary budget, arguing that descriptions such as operations and general administrations lacked sufficient detail. Critics maintained that taxpayers deserve clear explanation on how public resources are being used, particularly when the allocation involves offices that already command substantial budgets. So they wanted to know, to understand on which criteria used when these allocations were set aside. Supporters of the estimates pushed back, insisting that the funds had been properly reviewed through parliamentary procedures and were necessary to support government functions. But members of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security argued that the allocation were justified and aligned with the national interest. The exchange quickly became one of the most continuous budget debates in recent months, reflecting growing political tensions around government spending and accountability. You know, ladies and gentlemen, actually, Kenya, we are on what we call inflation. That is why we are affected, all of us. The latest dispute comes against the backdrop of recent findings by the Office of the Control of Budget in a report covering the first 9 months of the 2026-2025 years.